thank God January is over, because if I had to see another movie like this, Mordecai, Taken 3, The Boy Next Door, even though I thought that was kind of funny, I've seen so many, not just bad movies, just horrendously annoying and awful films this year that make me just shiver in fear every time I think about going to the theater again. And The Loft, I thought would be a bad movie, but kind of like The Boy Next Door, where it's just like, all right, it's bad, but maybe it'll be funny because it's so bad. No, no, The Loft is just bad. It's just a bad movie, and it should have stayed on shelves. If you don't know what The Loft is, it's a movie that was made in 2011. I shit you not, it's been 4 years since this movie was shot and probably edited and all that, but it was shelved for a few years. Probably because it's an awful film. And then they put it out in like 1,000 something theaters, and no one wanted to go see it. No one should go see it. When it comes out on DVD, there should be no advertising that it's on DVD. It shouldn't even come out on Blu-ray. It shouldn't even come out on DVD. VHS maybe. Okay, the story for The Loft, I'm just getting into it. The story for The Loft follows 5 completely unlikable dickheads. And these are our 5 main characters who are friends. You got Carl Urban, you got Wentworth Miller, James Marsden, Eric Stonestreet, who does not fit in at all completely. I'll explain why. Well, he's fat, but also there's another reason. And you have Matthias Goza, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but the guy from The Drop. He's also in the original movie that this is based on. This is actually a remake for people that don't know. And I think he played the main character in that one, and now he's playing like maybe the same character, but he's not the main character. I don't know. I never saw the original. But anyway, you got those 5 people. They're friends. They all have different jobs. Carl Urban's an architect. James Marsden's like I don't know, some construction. I don't know. I don't care. Okay, it doesn't matter. But anyway, they all have wives. They all have a family for the most part. But then of course they want to cheat on their wives. All 5 of them. All 5 of these friends want to cheat on their wives. Carl Urban has this loft. He designed it. He actually designed it for him, but he wants to share it with everybody. So he makes 5 keys, one for each of his friends and himself. And he says, you know what? When you want someone, you want to cheat on your wife, and you want to, you want to cover it up. No hotel bills, no nothing, no trails or anything. Come here. It's free. You get a key. Just help me pay the rent, and come on by and screw your wife. Just make sure someone else isn't in there screwing their mistresses. I meant to say, and that's the setup. And of course, guess what? A dead body happens to show up in the loft. No one knows who killed this woman. It's a woman. She might be a character later on. I'm going to spoil it. Yes, obviously, because this movie wants to be very Hitchcockian. I'm not laughing because cock. I'm just laughing because this movie thinks it's being a Hitchcock movie. That's what's making me laugh. And okay, so the dead body's on the bed, whatever, blah, 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 and they have to figure out who killed this woman. This is how they figure out. They walk around the loft a lot, they talk, and every time they talk, a flashback happens where you get to see like a year earlier when they talk about the loft at first, and then maybe 6 months before the murder where they meet with a couple of characters and stuff. So you get to see who these characters are, who some of the side characters are, who the wives are. You get to see why they're cheating and whatever, which you don't actually understand why most of them are cheating on their wives, especially Carl Urban. I could not understand why he was cheating on his wife. So you have all these characters, scum of the earth, unlikable. You're trying to figure out who murdered this person, why they did it, why are they framing these guys, because that's obviously what's happening. Someone's getting framed, and you just don't care. It's a mystery with no mystery. It's a thriller with no thrills. It's a movie that is just derived of story that is, entertaining to follow. It's derived of characters you like, because no character in this movie is likable. None. Even some characters that show up later on in the movie for like 2 minutes. Like they're barely on there. There's a character later on where you find out that person might be linked to the murder, and they're on the screen for maybe 3 minutes. The character gets naked, and that's about it. That's all you know about this character. You don't know anything about the characters. All you know is that they're dickheads and they like to cheat, and some of them are sluts because they're, some of them are women. And this movie has a very, 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 very poor depiction of how women are in the world. There's one part where Matthias, whatever the hell his name is, who is a coke-addicted child beater. He has a terrible He's just a terrible character. Rapes and abuses a hooker. And this is a whole scene where James Marsden has to untie her and stuff and tell her to go. Don't call the cops, though. Just go. And I just don't understand. Like, you're not. I guess you're just not supposed to like these characters, but then you just don't care about the story because you don't care what happens. None of the characters are likable at all, and I don't think you should always have a likable character. Like, look at something like Breaking Bad, where the main character, I wouldn't say is likable, but you follow him because he has charisma, fantastic acting, great writing, even great direction, just a great setup. You know, the story itself is interesting. Nothing in this movie is like that. Nothing. So you just have the characters, and the characters are completely unlikable. So that means the whole movie is worthless, and it is not filmed well. It's not written well. Oh my god, the writing in this movie is, I will admit, sometimes laughably bad. So okay, the movie is kind of funny at times, but it's just a straight up boring film at times, and it's just. I'm so surprised that people like Carl Urban and James Marsden are in this. I mean, James Marsden has been in bad films. So has Carl Urban. I mean, he was in Doom and Pathfinder. Those were not very good films, even though I kind of liked Pathfinder. It's not a good film, but it's a B movie. I liked it. But they've been in bad movies, but this one is still below their talents, especially Carl Urban. I think that guy is a great actor, and he is pretty good in this. Like, the acting's not terrible. Again, the characters are not likable, and the writing's so bad, so it makes them look worse than they are. But, you know, I could see through that and see that they actually are doing a decent job in this. It's just, you don't care about any of them. You really don't, and that's the main problem. You don't care, and the story itself is bland as all hell, and all the twists and turns are, sure, kind of surprising, but again, you don't give a shit, so who cares? Like, they could have a Sixth Sense style plot twist where it just blows your mind, but then you'll be like, oh, it blew my mind, but wait, hold on, I don't give a shit. Like, Sixth Sense worked because you cared about the characters. You don't give a shit about any of these characters. But anyway, the acting is decent. That's about all I could say that's good about this film. It didn't leave me really pissed off like Mordecai and even Taken 3 did, but it's still not a very good film. It really isn't. There's nothing I could recommend, and I will be remembering this movie by the end of this year for the top 10 worst films. It didn't leave me pissed. I just left going, wow. All those characters were despicable. They were evil human beings. The ending made me really hate them even more because some of them got off scot clean. And I don't know. The Loft, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 40. I gave it lower than Mordecai. I think Mordecai gave it like 7. I'm giving this lower, even though I'm not as pissed. It's just a bad film. It's just so bad. It really is. The Loft can go screw itself. It was a bad movie. And the director, I hope you do better stuff. I heard the original movie's pretty decent, and it's the same guy that did the original. But this movie is not good. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. I know it's a little long, but I had to vent. Yeah, it's a shit film. Yeah, depiction of females, all that. Oh, I forgot to say Eric Stonestreet. He's one of the worst characters I've ever seen. He's so annoying. Every time he makes a joke, I want to freaking castrate myself. There you go. I forgot to mention that. There you go. But still 5 out of 40. So there you go. The Loft is bad. Straight up.